Hello, my name is Marcus T. Anthony. I'm a futurist, or a mystic, or, as in today, a teacher. I'm going to teach you how to learn something. How to learn something. And that might seem like a rather mundane title for a video, but the reason I've used such a mundane term is because most people never really learn very much, I've noticed. I taught in schools and universities and in government agencies over a period of 20 years, and it struck me that a lot of people never really ever learn much new. Once they reach, say, puberty, they simply just keep going around doing the same things again and again. Now, one of the reasons why I believe that I'm qualified to be able to teach people how to learn something also is that I've learned an awful lot in my own life, including a lot of things that I never thought that I would be able to. When I was little, I was actually almost put into the slow learners class in my primary school. My oldest brother called me dope, and the teachers made fun of me. And you might say, well, that's understandable given who you are, but and when I got older, I started to challenge some of the self-beliefs that I had. And I actually went on to study at university. I was the first person in my family to study at university. My father left school when he was about 14. My mother never even went to high school. She dropped out when she was 12. I'm the only person in my family to have finished high school and gone on to university. And in fact, I was able to get a PhD as well. So I really did transcend some of my own belief structures and limitations about learning. And that includes, I think, quite a wide variety of fields. For example, I'm a mystic, but before I was, let's say, about 25, I was very much left-brained and skeptical. But I decided to embark on a process of examining my dreams and using meditation. And after a while, I became quite adept at gleaning information from my own psyche, from the intuitive realms and the spiritual realms. So that was a real huge shift in my own life. When I was a kid also, I remember, well, actually I wasn't a kid, I was around 20 years old, a kid relative to what I am now. My French teacher at university came up to me when I started studying French in my second year, and she told me to quit the French class because she said, well, some people just don't have the capacity to learn languages. Well, when I was 33 and went to Taiwan, I decided to prove her wrong, and now I can speak Chinese pretty well. When I went to mainland China also, I studied the language. I got out there, and well, I proved my teacher wrong. So, for my 中国朋友你好. Now, the other thing that I learned was singing. Up till I was about 30, I didn't believe I could sing. I thought I was the worst singer in the world. But I decided to challenge myself on that one too. And I went on to a singing teacher in Auckland, New Zealand. And he taught me how to sing amazingly. I never thought I would be able to. So in learning all these kinds of new things that I never once thought I could, I came up with some principles about how to learn and how to learn quickly. And I developed a learning theory, basically. But it's a very practical theory. So what I'm going to do in this video series is just share with you some of the insights that I learned. And starting with this one today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to learn today is, the first principle is, try something new. Try something different. Come out of your comfort zone. Unless you're willing to do this as a first step, you're never going to learn anything new. It might sound elementary, it is elementary, but many people never bother to challenge their own concept of who they are and what they can learn. I used to think I was very uncoordinated once. I thought I would never be able to juggle, which is why, the reason I'm mentioning juggling is because I've got these 3 juggling balls here. And some time ago when I studied at an accelerated learning course, I decided to learn a bit of juggling because it was one of the things that the teacher there taught us. So I learned some very basic juggling skills. So I'm quite comfortable, for example, in juggling with 3 balls. So this is a very simple juggling process, just 3 balls. Anybody can do this, it doesn't really take very long. I can do a couple of little variations on that. For example, I can go over the top, sometimes. I can even, if I try, I think I might be able to go in one direction from right to left. Let's see if I can do that. I haven't juggled for about 5 years. So those kinds of things that I can do okay, and I fail sometimes, which is what happens in juggling. It's what happens in every learning process. However, I've always wanted to learn to juggle with 4 balls. I tried this a few years ago and I found it absolutely impossible. So a couple of days ago I grabbed a 4th ball and I started to practice a little bit with this. So I'm going to use this juggling as a metaphor for learning, because over the next few videos I'm going to do some more juggling, and hopefully I'm going to be able to learn how to juggle with 4 balls. Okay. So I was fiddling around with this. This is pretty much what I'm working on at the moment. Is because I don't know how to do this. To be honest, I have no idea how to do it. I haven't looked it up on the internet. I haven't read any books. I don't have a teacher. So I realise there's no way you can do this by just throwing the balls up like this, as with 3. It just doesn't work. It's just too hard. So what I've been working on is trying to move the balls from the right hand around in one direction like this, which is not natural for me. My brain hasn't quite adapted to that. As you try new physical processes, or new mental processes like language or playing a new sport, a physical process, or any kind of new process, the brain will start to develop new neural pathways, and the connection between the brain and the body will improve. Now with my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand, I'm even worse. I can almost get balls around. Oh, it's not too bad. So what I'm going to try and work on is to try to get the balls going around in this hand and this hand at the same time. So now this is where I'm up to with that. I can get it around and then like this. As you can see, I'm not actually juggling, I'm just kind of getting it around in one hand, stopping, and then to the other hand. Now, I've got one little step past that, and that is just speeding up a little bit. 1, 2, oops, wrong way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm not actually juggling because I'm holding the ball in one hand as I do it. So that's where I'm up to with juggling. I'll try it one more time. 1, 2, oops. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's it. That's where I'm up to with juggling with 4 balls. And I hope by the time we get to the last video in the series that I'll be able to juggle much better. And I'll introduce a new process or principle each time. So the first principle is you've got to come out of your comfort zone and you have to try something different, even if you think it's something that you can't do. And I hope you'll join me again for the next episode or insight of how to learn something. See you then.